Hi, you're listening to Live Constructions on WKCR FM New York. And in studio with us today, we're proud to have back to the station a longtime friend of WKCR, an eminent and ferocious jazz drummer in the New York scene, Mr. William Hooker.
Thank you.
So welcome to the station, William. Welcome back.
Always,
Good to have
always
you.
a pleasure.
You're not going to play any music for us in studio today, but we're going to talk a little bit about an upcoming show you've got and a little bit about some new recorded work that you've got. I guess we can start by talking about Body and Soul.
Yes.
The show that you've got coming up at
Yes.
Lincoln Center,
Uh-huh.
the David Rubenstein Atrium. It's this Thursday, February 20th at 7:30 p.m. And you're scoring a silent film is kind of the gist of it.
Basically,
Yeah.
basically, but I don't want people to get a feeling that it's a soundtrack.
Right. It's an entire sort of...
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the musicians reacting to what's on the screen.
Absolutely. And the movie is by Oscar Michaud. It's from 1925.
Five.
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What's the movie? It's
The movie is really interesting because it deals with
Paul Robeson.
it deals with religion. I mean, that's one of the major themes. And I think that people should be aware of the fact that both Paul Robeson and Oscar Michaud really were looking at religion with a very, very critical eye in terms of the role of the minister in the community and what this person represented and what this person's role should be and what it became, because they were witness to in both cases they were witness really to the head of the religious community not necessarily being what he or she is supposed to represent. And so you find that the protagonist really is the inventor, who is a blue-collar, hard-working guy, honest, moral, upstanding, respectful of others, etc., etc. And they're both vying for the hand of this maiden. And this is the premier work that started Paul Robeson with film.
Yeah, it was his debut. He plays the protagonist.
Both.
He plays both.
He plays both. It's a dual role. Gotcha. Yeah, it's a dual role, which is really interesting because you can tell he's finding himself in terms of how does one act on film as opposed to regular theater,
Mm-hmm.
which he knew, he understood it, but he was trying to also find out how to be able to deal with the fact that this door was opening for him, because by that time
He'd already performed in the O'Neill plays.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Do you know the names of the plays?
The Emperor.
Emperor Jones?
Yeah.
All right, then. I remember that one specifically. But was that a talkie?
Well, on when he performed it on stage.
On stage.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he's finding his footwork in terms of being a film actor, and Michaud presents to him the opportunity for him to stretch out and actually deal more in nuance and deal with his body language and deal with his feelings and how they're captured really on film, which is different than live theater. But by that time, as we both know, he was definitely a superstar, right? Athlete, singer, actor, political person, and Michaud asks him to do this, and he does it, and he does it very, very well. And so the way that the film opens, and the way the plot of the film, it deals with a lot of different things. It deals with class, it deals with culture, it deals with religion, it deals with light skin versus dark skin. It deals with a lot of different issues that um, black people at the time had never seen in terms of themselves being portrayed on screen. So I just think that the film is important because it is a turning point as far as Michaud, a turning point as far as Robeson, and a turning point in terms of this film being positioned, luckily enough, for the 20th, which is in the heart of Black History Month.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
How's your sort of how are you going to respond to all of that musically? I
how
guess is
um, the first portion is a series of events. Events being the people that are playing, they follow my cues in terms of initiating an improvisation or initiating a musical statement, and that statement follows through, and then I can at any point in time cut that off and start another one. So the possibilities in terms of music is endless, really, because I could make a statement at the point when the music pauses, and that that statement can be the basis for the first event. I'll end it through a cue, and then someone else, whoever I choose, or whoever really feels as if they're hot at the moment, they can make a statement, and we can follow through on statement as well. And it's not really a series of hooks. Don't get it wrong. It's really taking whatever a person feels at the point of silence to be able to go into and use that as the essence of the improvisation. And you can, and I'm thinking in terms of like 9 or 10 events. That's the first portion. Second portion, I'm dealing with written notes. I'm dealing with um, actually using certain key phrases to initiate the improvisation and to initiate the response from the group with what I see on the screen. And this can be done without a lot of uh, a lot of loud, blaring, constant music. In this sense, a person is really also, in both senses, really, the people that are playing are not only playing the musical ideas, but they're playing silence, and they can use silence very effectively because when you think about it, on the screen we have an entire flow going on, and that flow, um, we correspond to the flow, and that flow doesn't necessarily mean that at one point when um, one of the actors does something that's really, really, wacky, we have to go there because we're being told not only through gesture but also through the words that are on the screen what is happening. So the audience and myself, we're absorbing really Michaud's train of thought and trying to see how he's opening up one scene to another, to another, to another, to another. And so it gives us an opportunity, as I said, to use silence as well as to use the music, and it works really, really well.
Right. I mean, well, you're responding to something that's been fixed, on
Yes,
celluloid for 90 years,
right,
and you're, responding second by second almost,
right, right,
as it
right,
goes.
right.
So yeah, it sounds like a pretty interesting tension
And
there.
and and
Yeah.
the thing about it is that's also interesting is that many of these same subjects are there today, and these subjects have become not only part of what we see in a community which was a black community. These subjects are now universal subjects in terms of religion, in terms of class, culture. Everywhere we're still dealing with the exact same things that Michelle brought up in terms of reference points, and that's why I find it kind of really that's also very interesting.
Who have you enlisted to play with you? What's the lineup?
Um, Mark Smith, Dave Ross, Taylor Ryan, Tom Slabinger, Sky Steele, Ross Moshe, Matt Lavelle, and myself. And in both of these groups, the drum and the djembe are the constant. So we've been rehearsing, and it's taken on a different a different vibe. Instead of a regular performance, it's taken
Right.
on a really good vibe. And even in the studio, we brought a TV in, and we were looking at the film at the very first rehearsal,
Yeah.
and then they were asked to go and look it up on YouTube and look at the film individually, and so people have come back with certain ideas that they have about it.
Were you always rehearsing with the film? Was that kind of a constant as you were going through?
No,
Yeah.
well, no, I can't say that. No, that's not true. The first two times that we rehearsed, we used the film, but they were asked prior to that, over the Christmas vacation and over the um, New Year's vacation, to look at the film on YouTube or wherever they could find it, and just to get an idea of what was going on with it and the pacing of it. So when we went into the studio, it was kind of clear to people at that point. Um, it was clearer in terms of where I was going to go with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting from another standpoint too. You could think of the editor of a film as kind of the drummer of the film. It's a kind of percussive aspect of
Okay.
the process. But yeah, if you just tuned in, William Hooker is our guest today, and he's playing a show on Thursday, February 20th, at 7:30 p.m. at the David Rubenstein Atrium at Lincoln Center. It's a live score to Oscar Michaud's silent film Body and Soul. It's free. Also, we
Yes, it
neglected to
is.
mention that
Yes,
last
it
time.
is. Yes, it is.
So there's no excuse not to come down.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful space.
Yeah,
I've
it's
got to say,
fantastic.
yeah.
Um, and afterwards, there's going to be a sort of Q&A, an audience
Q&A
conversation.
conversation. Yep, it's going to be initiated by um, a film enthusiast and a DJ. He has his own show at UConn,
Uh-huh.
and
And you've known him for...
well, yeah, I've known him for quite a while, and he actually was going down this road, this Michaud road with me, and he did a lot of research on his own, and so when I did the first portion of symbol of the unconquered, he was asking very, very probing questions in certain places that I put it on, and then I saw that um, that his ability to be there and also and be with me through this process, and also to guide the conversation, also helped, because a lot of times a lot of people really know a lot about silent film, know a lot about film, and what I noticed is that sometimes we tend to really try to give people a course in film when that's not the place to do it. And so he knows how to guide the conversation so that people can get their immediate responses out, and that can spark other people's
Right.
responses
To
as
respond to
well.
the responses and
Yes,
yeah,
yes, it's
yeah,
beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's a good
yeah.
thing.
No,
It's
it's
a good thing.
fantastic. Well, if there's anything else you want to say about the show, then
Say it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Um, I cannot, I cannot speak enough about the influence that Oscar Micheaux has had on film. Um, I don't know if I shared this information with you, but there are three stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. One is Fellini. There's Kurosawa, and there's Micheaux. And I was brought to Micheaux through Rudolph Gray. I don't know if you know Rudolph. Rudolph is a guitarist. Rudolph is really basically a film art person, and he lives on 50th near Worldwide Plaza, and he brought this film over for me because maybe about, I would say about 8 years ago, he thought that what I was trying to do as an educator, this would be an essential thing that a lot of people, they didn't know about Micheaux at all, and I knew nothing about him either. And by him turning me on to Micheaux, that started me down this road of trying to figure out who the man was. Why did he choose to do what he chose to do? What were the things that were involved in terms of his creativity? Because he was also a novelist. He wrote 4 novels. He was also a person that moved from Chicago to North Dakota and wanted to actually bring people to North Dakota so that they could become more independent and get land in North Dakota and establish their own community there. Because he realized that the key to independence sometimes isn't only just how much money you have, but it probably was your ability, or one's ability, whatever, whoever the group is, but in this case it was black people from Chicago, to establish their community and to have a certain amount of independence in terms of owning their own land and working the land. And North Dakota was a perfect place for this. And he would go backwards and he would go back and forth. He was also important because he was one of the first do-it-yourself people. He had all of his films, which he sold out of the back of his car, and he was doing tours throughout the North and throughout the South in only black movie houses, and he would sell the film's presentation to a theater, and at the same time that he was showing the film, his current film, he was enlisting people that lived in the cities that he was visiting to help make his next film at the same time. He was always ahead of his creditors, as most people who do it yourself are, really, because he had no one backing him. He had no major studio. Uh, at that point in time in history, there was a D.W. Griffith who was really the person who had been chosen to be signed up to make all of the silent films and interpretations of people, and he was the main person. And Michaud's take on things was in a larger than life fashion. He wanted to show people. He wanted people to see themselves on the screen the way they really were, and that was the drawing power. Because prior to that, everybody used the money and used the name to basically foster the stereotypes of what black people were about, and how they lived, etc., what they did or didn't do. And all of his films, and there was like 40 of them, 40
Yeah,
films.
he made movies into the talkie era and
Yes,
beyond. Yeah, well,
yes,
beyond. But he made movies before Body and Soul. I think a lot of them are lost also, which is
they are.
a shame. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And he died in an unmarked grave,
Mm-hmm.
and most of his films were lost. And the story is that his wife outlived him by 30 years, and before she passed away, she burned all the memorabilia and burned all of the flyers and posters and everything because she was so angry about society's treatment of this person, and how much this person devoted to filmmaking, and how he really had to scrape to get by, to live. And but he was a very very innovative person, and a very very self um, motivated person. And he created companies of actors that could never work anywhere, and these people actually became important actors in terms of like just film in general. And so he did all these things on not even I won't even say a shoestring budget. He had no budget, and he's a very very forward looking guy, and I think that that's probably what that whole story really I definitely related to it in a lot of
Yeah,
different ways.
an
Yeah.
inspiration.
And that's
Yeah,
the day. That's the day.
for sure.
You know how it is. You go in and you're trying to put something together, and you have no bread, and you got people that want to do it, and they're all talented, and they can get no work, and you're going around trying to give people the truth about who they are. And many people responded. Many people responded. There were riots in certain places that he presented his films. And so I'm really excited by it. I can't tell you enough how the technical aspects of this have been really brought to the fore in what Lincoln Center is giving me to be able to do this film. Um, it was the perfect timing, the perfect place. I have a group of people that I really trust, and they really like. They're excited about it, and it's free.
Yeah, it's Thursday, February 20th, 7:30 p.m. at the David Rubenstein Atrium at Lincoln Center. It's on 65th
Yeah.
and Broadway.
Yes.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if there's we've got a little time. Do you want to talk any about recent recorded work? That
Well,
you've put out? You just
I
got out of the studio, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that during the course of this, I know you're going to edit this, and I hope that we could put music in between, so that uh, people can get really a taste of what I brought up. Channels of consciousness specifically because I'm really starting to feel I'm really starting to feel that that's one of my best recordings I've ever done. And recent stuff that's going to be happening is a duet that's going to be coming out on No Business. I just the record just came out, Heart of the Sun, which features the late Roy Campbell and David Soldier in I think a really really great presentation of the work, and that was done at Roulette. And I can't say enough about that record, because I would have never thought that I would have to premiere that record under the conditions that were surprising to all of us at that point. And but people have really stepped up to the plate in terms of reviewing it, reviewing it properly, and really giving respect to the overall idea, and to Roy himself and to David. And then after that, there's going to be the quartet coming out. Quartet will be coming out in about a month and a half. The quartet is myself, Mark Hennon, Larry Rowland, Matt Lavelle, and this was a part of the presentation that happened at Issue Project Room in honor of Cecil Taylor. And so that recording is coming out. And I'll be telling people more about what's going to be going on, because I'll be doing poetry at Cornelia Street Cafe, as well as I'm going to be doing something with some people. I think in this community, your community, Columbia, we're going to be doing a brainwave presentation. And so I'll be playing, and there'll be a biologist, a neuroscientist, a neurosurgeon, or neuro. I don't know what the proper title of it is, but they're going to be studying my brain reactions to performing.
While you drum.
Yeah.
Wow, oh, that'll be incredible.
Yeah. And there's going to be something, I think this Tuesday or Wednesday, they're having something here at Columbia. I'll be out of town, but I know that they're going to be having something at Columbia as a precursor to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just really feeling good about the things that are going to be happening, and just where the music is going. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in terms of talking that much about
Sure.
what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
But
it's all stuff
yeah,
on deck.
It's
yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
It is, and it's all different. Each thing is kind of different.
It's all bringing in different fields of study in some ways.
I'm feeling good about it. I'm really feeling good about it, and I just think that this presentation is very important, and I'm looking for a diverse crowd. I'm looking for a diverse conversation. I'm looking for educated conversation, as well as down home, heartfelt conversation, and really just opening the doors to an individual that made history, but is still not in the American history books. And I found that out through a friend of mine, and probably that's the way it works, huh? That's the way it works.
Absolutely.
And Michaud just caught me. He just caught me. So I'm still studying it, getting ready for even the third one. I don't know what that's going to be, because certain things, I don't know if I even want to see it. I mean, David, I don't know if I want to see a lynching. I don't know if I want to see it. It could get really, really, like, ugly isn't even a word. It can get like horrifying in a way. and I've been reading a few things about it and seeing just what that whole ceremony was about. And I read the first 3 or 4 pages of this book. This person was at St. John Divine speaking, and I bought his book and I started reading it. And he teaches at Union Theological Seminary. And the first 4 pages, I couldn't read past it. I couldn't. It was just too. It was horrifying. It was seriously horrifying. 20,000 people, like, just having a party.
Yeah.
And
Graphic.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. That's it. Graphic. Seriously graphic. And I don't know if I would want to try and tackle one of those pieces, which Michaud tackled it in one of his films. So I am still thinking about the third one. But this one has a life of its own right now.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, and I'm lucky to have the people that are working with me, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah. Well, come on down to Lincoln Center on Thursday, February 20th, 7:30 p.m. to have an artistic conversation with William Hooker. A free artistic conversation.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
let's just see what we think about this. Let's see what we think about. Let's see what we think about these ideas in the way human beings are, and if they've changed, and if they haven't, and how much. And what we can do to have them change toward a positive direction, hopefully. Yeah, I'm really. I can't tell you enough, David. I'm up. I'm up. I'll tell you. I'll tell you that.
It's
much.
great to hear.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I've got a really nice drum set.
Well, William, always great to have you.
Yes, absolutely.
Come back soon
Great, David.
and see you on the 20th.
Great,
Yeah.
absolutely. Bring your friends.